This is so exciting. It's a pilot episode for the official UTS Personal Growth Society podcast, Diary of an Executive. I really hope that in this podcast and episode we'll be able to offer you something meaningful and perhaps life-changing for your own unique life journey. I, Natalie Chidiac, will be your host, and I'll be joined today by my guests, Rivan and Aamin Ojha. We're all executive members from the Society's content team, and more importantly, we're deeply passionate about personal growth, podcasts, and talking, hence why we're on the first pilot episode. Without further ado, welcome Rivan, welcome Aamin. How are you both doing?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks. Thanks for having us, Natalie.
No
Pretty good
worries.
as well.
How's life been in general?
Busy, but productive.
Yeah.
So it's good.
How's your stew back?
It's hardly a stew back.
Yeah.
It's going well, yeah. Being productive, getting assignments done while trying to have a bit of a break.
Yeah, they call it stew back, but I never believe that it's a stew back.
Yeah, exactly.
They should change the name.
For sure, yeah.
So basically today our episode is very introductory. We're just going to be talking about what personal growth is, how subjective it is, how it varies across both of you and me, and just like our different ways of working within the realm of personal growth. So my first question is, how would you define personal growth? What is it really, especially for people who don't know what it is?
Happy for yourself.
Right. I think personal growth, obviously it's very subjective, but it's a little bit like self-improvement, obviously, but I think there's a little bit more to it, which is more about getting to a state in which you feel fulfilled in your own life, whether that's in relationships or individual like achievements. And it's also about building like a sense of community, I think, with people who are like-minded, striving to achieve their best. So it's not just all about the individual self-improvement, but about the holistic growth as a community in self-improvement. That's the way I feel, at least.
Yeah, that's an interesting take about it. I haven't really thought about it from the perspective of community.
Yeah.
But now since we're in the society, like all together, we're all like-minded, I feel like that further helps bring it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what do you do as part of your personal growth? That could be journaling, meditation, physical activity.
Yeah. I do a lot of physical activity, so I go to the gym a lot, and I go for walks as well, especially when the weather's like this nice, not when it's raining. But in addition to the physical activity, I'm often like taking time just to spend it by myself. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. It could be like doing some hobbies, or just could be on my walk. I could be walking to and from like a train station on the way to uni, and just kind of like having this like internal conversation with myself is the best way to put it. And it's just kind of checking in, like, all right, how are we mentally, how are we emotionally, but then also how are we managing life? How are we feeling about it? Do we feel good about it? If not, why? How can we change it? So kind of like constantly reflecting every day, whether that's in the form of physical journaling, which I do sometimes, but I often go on my personal walks and I put some headphones on and I just like chat to myself. I literally just talk out loud. It will look like I'm on a phone call or something.
Yeah.
I'm just talking to myself, and it kind of keeps me, I guess, calm, but also like with some sense of direction. I feel like if I don't do that for a while, if I spend too much time with too many people around me for too long, and I don't kind of check in with myself, I kind of start to feel overwhelmed, directionless. Yeah. So that's kind of how I go about personal growth. Yeah.
It's very interesting, and like I love that you mentioned about being alone, because I feel like it's very underrated.
Yeah.
Like what's always popular is that you have to be an extrovert, you have to be like attending all these social events.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just need to stop and check in with yourself. Like for example, during Stewback, I've had that time to stop and just process everything that's happened so far, like the past 3 months.
Yeah.
And it's really helped you just see things more deeply than just being on autopilot and just walking through.
Yeah.
Just ticking off tasks. Yeah. Your input?
My input on this is about student, right?
Yeah, I digress a lot. So what do you do as part of personal growth?
As part of personal growth, I do a lot of reading. I mean, lately it's been a bunch of work. Like I'm trying to build an app that I'll talk about in a mention. And it's just been like long ass days trying to get this app out with some physical exercise. I've been injured, so it's rehab from all that crap. You know, on the occasional walk. It's about lately.
I think the common denominator, all of us go on walks. I go on walks books on the
Yeah,
level.
what's the good?
But yeah, I also had I had a skin condition that kind of prevented me from like continuing. But yeah, now I'm back.
Nice.
Yeah. So obviously, like as we've seen, there's differences in what we do for personal growth, and it's a very subjective thing. Do you feel like there's any sort of like pressure to be doing particular things within personal growth to really, fall under personal growth, or do you just kind of do what aligns with what you want or what meets your own needs?
I've never thought about personal growth as a category. Like, I think personal growth is just like the broad set of activities you do as a person, just by default. And I feel like the kind of people we attract are those kinds of people who are just kind of always thinking, like, there's just this undercurrent of thought in their head, but how can I be better? It's not like an active question you put into your head.
Yeah.
It's like, just tend to want to behave in a better way and become better as a person. You're somewhat optimistic. I think that's what it is. Like, I've never thought about it as a category.
Yeah, that's true. I used to always be on the personal growth journey, but I never named it as personal growth in the past. But once I joined this society, because I feel like now with social media and like podcasts, Mel Robbins, all of those people, like it's more official. Like you give it a name, and it's become kind of like a category, but essentially it's not. Yeah. So, what brought you to personal growth in the first place? Whether that be as a category, not as a category, like as a way of life, mindset.
So I think when I reflect on my entire life, I've always just been inclined to do my best. And I'm never really satisfied if I do anything below that benchmark or standard. So yeah, it's kind of like what he was saying, it's never really been a category for me. And I don't really like it when people say, oh, I'm on self-improvement or I'm on personal growth or whatever, because it's like, it's not, I don't see it as, they say it almost as if it's like a drug they're taking or something, right? But I don't think it's like this particular thing that you take or you get on, right? Yes, there is a journey, but yeah, I don't like categorizing it. I think it's just more about like the base nature. So what brought me to it, I guess, eventually is just I recognized, I was able to put, kind of like what you said, I was able to put a label on it later on when I realized what it is that I'm actually doing. But it's just always been like this natural inclination to be better, to achieve higher standards, I guess. So yeah, I think it was probably around like last year, actually around a year and a half ago, that I just realized, it's personal growth or self-improvement that I've been doing, but it just comes from me wanting to be as good as I can for the sake of it.
Yeah, that sounds like a self-actualization need that you have, like part of your personality. Because I'm also like that. Like when you're talking, I'm like, that's me. Yeah, what about you? You said that it's not a category for you.
A start date on it, it's probably when I started watching Ali Dal in September 2022. I was like, shit, dude, I can be productive. I can have a simple title, I can just to-do list. And then from there, you get into like reading, because, like book lists and stuff. And then you start reading and learning, and then you start reading those other writers. And then that's where like the start date is.
Yeah.
I think I was kind of brain dead until 2022.
Yeah.
Like I was a freaking teenager. So I kind of realized that, you have to like live a life that's good. 16, 17 years old, and like, happens all through that.
Yeah, I'm also quite new. Like, I haven't been like officially like doing personal growth for long. I'd say end of last year.
Yeah.
I kind of went through something that was a bit challenging and like very new. And there was like a lot of mental tension and confusion. And I just felt very heavy mentally, and I didn't want that anymore. So I just kind of started pursuing things that would like help me alleviate that.
Yeah.
It started with meditation, the first thing. Like I'll just go on YouTube, guided meditation videos. Because I felt like it starts with the body, because your stress and your tension just accumulate in the body. The body keeps the score. So I started meditation. Then I don't know if you guys know this guy, Young Pueblo. He's an author. Have you read his books?
I haven't read it, but
I've read his writing, but not his books.
He's so good.
He's very good.
I love his writing. He was the first like personal growth person that I read for. He had this book called Lighter, and like it was very like on time, because I wanted to feel lighter on the inside. And I genuinely felt lighter after reading the book, because he writes like in such a clear, straightforward way, and it helped with all the tension and stuff. And then I just started like, it flowed, like how you were saying, you have a reading list and you just read it more and more and more.
Yeah, it just snowballs.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. And then I got into the podcasts. Someone recommended Diary of a CEO. So I started with that. Although I don't really think that's it's not self-help because he has many guests of different industries. So it's kind of more like you're getting cultured, I feel.
Yeah.
And then what else did I do? I started journaling. I love journaling. Like that's one of the main things I do for personal growth.
Yeah.
And like when I'm walking, sometimes because I've gotten into the habit of writing it, I just do it without writing it anymore. I just think of it in my head.
Yeah.
It really helps with like just sorting through your thoughts and organizing them, I guess. Yeah. Okay, my next question is, what kept you hooked into personal growth? Does it align with some sort of need or personal or professional life value for you?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think it's kind of like I see like myself now. I see myself from the past, and then I see like a potential me in the future. And I think the value that I have is like, you know, I'm gifted with this life that I have. I'm actually quite fortunate to have the life that I do. There are many less fortunate people, and what am I kind of doing if I'm not, you know, maximizing that ability to, you know, like live life to the fullest, I guess, or be the best I can be and reap the benefits of that as well. Like, I don't know, I think, you know, physical health, mental health, and then career achievements or whatever, it's sort of like, I kind of see myself now. If someone were to tell me I don't reach that eventually, then is that really like, is that a life I look forward to living, I suppose? And then on top of that, it's like relationships with different people, friendships, family. And I think, you know, if I'm not improving, if I'm not aiming toward a goal and I were to just stay stagnant where I am, I don't really think I'd be like content or satisfied staying there for the rest of my life. So I think that's the thing that's keeping me hooked, just that like vision of what my life can look like, who I'm going to be. And that keeps changing based on different experiences I have. The person I want to be now, although it's kind of similar to the person I wanted to be when I was like 3 years younger, it's changing based on life experiences that I have. And I think that's kind of part of the whole thing. And I think the beautiful thing about it is you probably never do, if you're truly into personal growth, you probably never truly become that person, but you get very, very close to it.
Yeah.
And I think that, for me, that's profound, and that's what keeps me hooked on the journey.
Yeah. I have 2 questions based on what you said.
Yeah.
My first one is, do you have like a particular image of how you visualize your life in the future? Or is it just like, for example, I want to do this, this, this?
I do kind of have a particular image. Some things are more specific than others, but yeah, it's like, it's flexible, but there's also a mix of, I want to be able to do this, this, and this. But for example, I don't have a set amount of money I'm making. I don't have a set, like, oh, I want to run this business, or I want to have this kind of a family, or live in this place. There's nothing specific about that, but it's more about the day-to-day feeling I have in my life. So it's like, oh, I wake up at this time and I feel this way about life. I feel excited to live my day, to work on this business, or to go see these people, to travel here. So I think I base it more off a feeling that I want to have, that I'm chasing, compared to the feeling that I currently have. So yeah, that's how it's.
That's such a really nice way of like putting it, like the feeling side to it. I feel like I'm the same, but sometimes I figure like I need a reminder that that's what I'm chasing.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially like when you're young, you don't really have that much agency in your life.
Yeah.
The more you grow, the more agency you get.
Yeah.
My second question was, what was I going to ask you? Forgot. So you know how in life sometimes people go down particular pathways, like not by choice or even by choice, but they don't know the consequences of it. Say for example, you get into a bad marriage and then that just changes the whole direction of your life.
Yeah.
If something like that happened to you, not specifically the marriage, just anything, and you weren't able to reach that self that you're aspiring to be, how would you reroute?
It's a good question. I think it's one thing I've made peace with a lot, because it's not marriage, but I've had similar things happen where, you know, I had a vision for what my life would look like when I'm 21 years old, and somewhat like that, but also at the same time nothing like that. And I wouldn't say it's for the worse, but there are some aspects that I feel subjective to me, I would have wanted to have or to experience that I haven't by now. And in terms of rerouting, that I've made peace with the fact that life happens, and maybe some things are in your control, but there's a lot of things that aren't in your control, and life does happen to you. And as much as I believe in the mindset of like you happening to life, right, you having control of your life, there are some things that you can't just deny, right? There are some experiences that do just like inevitably happen, and you just have to be okay with the fact, not that it will be easy at the time if you go through something so profound. It might take a while to move on, move forward, but just kind of having that flexible perspective, like keeping an open mind and saying, look, this didn't happen, and I can sit and whine about it, or I can sit and just stay defeated, or I can just completely rewrite my story and come up with something else. Just as good, if not better.
The other day I was getting a bit deep in my thoughts, and I was reflecting on something similar to that. I was thinking how like at the end of the day we sit there pursuing all these things, but we don't really decide what's going to happen in our life. Like I'm pursuing, say, this current degree that I'm doing, but maybe what's in plan for me or what's in store is something completely different. I can't really change it no matter what I do. So you just got to accept. And that also feeds into like comparisons, like comparing your life to other people, but like everyone's destined for something different. So it's pointless. I'll move on to you. Sorry, we can't have the conversation. What was my question initially?
What kept you hooked?
What kept you hooked?
It's a default state thing. Like, I could put logic on it and be like, oh, a human being wants to be self-actualized at some point in time, so a human being takes steps. But it's just kind of always been that way. Like, I always just want to be better. If I'm not progressing in some way, like year to year, it's kind of fucking weird. Like I really hope that I keep moving forward, and it's kind of just what I end up doing. Like, it's just the way it is. Balls always wrong.
Even like recently, my semester's been like pretty packed, like so many things happening like across the board. And like during Chidiac it was a bit slower. I still had things to do, but it was slower. And when I just sit down and I don't have anything to do, I feel like I can't, like, I feel so unproductive and bad, and like, not that I'm, I don't have that mindset of like, I have to always be pumping things out, but I feel like unfulfilled on the inside if I'm not doing something. So I have a bit of a crisis sometimes in that sense. I'm gonna move on to something that arises a lot in our conversations outside of this podcast. Do you feel like, or we do feel this, but like how do you deal with personal growth being seen in a negative light by people who don't, let's say maybe don't understand it, or it's being portrayed to them in a particular way that's kind of, made them just shy away from it? They're like, I don't want to hear any more about the self-help stuff.
Interesting. Man, it's probably just like BS self-help books that like piss them off, right? Because I've never imagined someone actually. It's that thing about, can you categorize it? I don't think you can. Like if you're having a self-improvement phase, you're doing some shit for status. It's like you would be doing it by default anyway. And just do what feels right. That's self-improvement.
I think with the negative light thing, I've seen like some creators who kind of like milk it out, like just kind of obviously for like a business model of some sort, and it just kind of makes the whole thing feel so superficial. So I think it's not just the books, there's the creators, obviously the books are written by authors, so there's a lot of people who see it as a market, and instead of having the intention of adding to the self-help space or self-improvement or personal growth, they're kind of saying, okay, how can I come up with something so I can put something in the space which I can make money out of? So that makes the whole thing very superficial. And in terms of people seeing it in a negative light, or just seeing like, oh, self-improvement, or you're so cringe, like whatever. Like, I kind of see it as like, it's just their loss. They don't see it as what it is or what I think they should see it as. But maybe that's not their fault as well, because of how saturated the content space is, especially in self-improvement these days. So there's a lot of creators just spitting out gibberish or just repeating the same thing. It's like we want new ideas, we want real conversations. But yeah, I mean, I see it as I'm grateful that I see it in a positive light, and if you don't see it in a positive light, I guess that's your problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys were to just summarize personal growth in one word, what would you say?
It's already 2 words. So.
Like, what is it in one word?
I think it's for me it's fulfillment. It's hard to label it all, but
Yeah.
Yeah, this is hard. Maybe. Okay, if I said actualization, it's the same thing as fulfillment. Let's go for curiosity. I think that's good actually.
Yeah, that's really good. Because like, if you're not curious, you're not gonna dig into anything.
Yeah.
I would say maybe evolution.
Ooh.
Because you're trying to get from somewhere to somewhere else in different ways.
Yeah.
With different people at different times.
Yeah.
What's maybe your go-to personal growth author that you would recommend?
Want to go first? Actually, Aamin.
Man,
Or you can say many if you want.
I'm happy for you to answer this one. I don't know. Think. Let me take it.
I can start it off if you guys.
Yeah, you go for it.
Yeah, Pablo, definitely.
Oh, nice.
I love him. Like, top for me.
Yeah.
Who else have I read? I kind of listen to them more than I read them in books.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person where like I listen to motivational talks,
Yeah.
like Simon Sinek,
Yeah.
Brené
He's
Brown. Oh my god, these two, they changed my life. I love them too. They're really helpful. Who else do we have? I feel like I've forgotten all the people that are out there.
Yeah.
It could just be like people even just writing about a certain industry that could help, or just writing about faith, for example, if you're a faithful person. Anything really, yeah. Do you have anything, or I could move on if no?
This morning, I've been reading a book called How to Live on 24 Hours a Day by Aamin. It's from like the fucking 1920s or something. It's the first ever self-help book. It's really weird, written in strange English. It's really good sometimes.
I should look into that.
It's alright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even I guess people on social media, like for example, I follow Lewis House.
Yeah.
I get a lot of his quotes in my feed. I love them. They're so good. Even just like pages where like they're theme based.
Yeah.
If they're centered around something that you're actively working towards, I guess that's also personal growth in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about podcasts? What's your favorite podcast since we're doing a podcast?
You know the answer to that. Modern wisdom.
Yeah.
Has to be it. The Tim Ferriss show is great as well. Love
Yeah, I think modern wisdom for sure. Chris Williamson. What I really love about him is he's not like I wouldn't really categorize him as a self-help podcaster, but he's very not even.
He's
like
graduated
self-
from self-help and put it to
Yeah,
to like
yeah, that's kind of like what it
action.
started as, but he's more like I don't know, like a life experience connoisseur in a way is the way I would put it. Like he's just always trying to learn from different people's experiences about different things. He has so many different guests on the show.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And he's so like well read. He's like great with his speech and everything. And I went and saw his show in person at the end of last year as well. Yeah, he was in the ICC, and he was talking about like, self-discovery, which is a topic that really like resonates with me. And it was just he was very open and vulnerable as well, which is something you don't see so much on the show. But like to kind of see him as a person, like, and if you see his like beginning podcast versus now, all in like what is it, like 6 or like 5, 6 or 7 years, I think. Something like that. Yeah, 2018 or 19. Yeah. He hit 1,000 actually. Yeah, he had a special episode.
Yeah.
I still have to see. Yeah, he's definitely my favorite. But I think a close second for me is Andrew Huberman.
Him and that.
Yeah.
I subscribed yesterday.
Yeah, so he's purely like intersection of neuroscience and self-improvement, I guess, more on the neuroscience side. But I find that very interesting because it's about how like, you know, the mind and the body works in relation to your everyday performance, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's not just like a science podcast show.
Yeah.
So that's what I find really interesting about that.
Yeah. Recently, because of all the personal growth stuff I've been doing, I've kind of developed this idea in my mind that maybe after I finish my degree, so I'm second year now, but one more, I'm thinking of doing like a Bachelor of Psychology as a second degree.
Yeah.
Because before I came into uni, I was choosing my degrees. I used to do science at school, like chemistry and biology, and like I loved science. But it's not like a career passion.
Yeah.
It's not something I want to be doing on a daily basis in my life, but I have that interest. So I was thinking like psychology has that element of science, but it's not literal science, and at the same time it links to personal growth, and it could like really help me in like my personal life and my professional life, like just in interactions with people even. So yeah, I'm kind of contemplating that now. If anyone here is a psychology student, please reach out. I need information. And I also wanted to say something. You were saying how you went last year to like a conference or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Mel Robbins is coming to Australia. She's doing a tour. Yeah, I was excited. I think I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna book and go.
Yeah. Nice.
What else? My questions are finished. Do you guys have anything else you want to add? Maybe something we didn't talk about, some angle of personal growth.
I think personal growth is, at least in my experience, it is a life experience, obviously, but there shouldn't be like this pressure. I think often there's this pressure to always be growing in a linear state, I guess, or like just linearly, but often there are times where like things kind of like as you're growing kind of goes down a bit. Sometimes you go further below than where you started, and when that happens it sucks, but that is all part of the process. It's kind of like an investment, I suppose, to learn, to try, to fail and fail, you know, like I think there's a lot more failures than there is success, right? Because when you achieve that success, there's probably been like 10 failures beforehand. And I think what's really important is when you are like on a personal growth journey, you're investing, obviously, well, not investing, you're more so like reminding yourself that and giving yourself grace that it's okay, you know, like I do have time, and even if you feel like you don't, which happens a lot, you do have time. You have time to fail. You have time to kind of go through all the negative parts of personal growth, because I wouldn't say it's an entirely positive journey, but I think that's life, right? Life is balanced with positives and negatives, and just keep going even when it's hard, because eventually you will come out the other end, you know, and you will reach some goals that you want. And by that time, if you are really involved in personal growth, you will probably not even recognize it, because you will have other goals by that time that you want to reach.
Yeah.
But just to kind of appreciate the milestones you reach along the way, and just compare yourself. They say comparison's the thief of joy, but I think that's especially in relation to you and other people. But comparing yourself to where you were, right? It gets easy to forget where you started, and then when you see, you know, I look at myself earlier this year and I look at myself now in like terms of gym progress, and even though right now to me it doesn't feel like that much, I look at it and I look at pictures and I look at, you know, my discipline and consistency and how that's changed from like 6 months ago to now, and I'm like, I've come a long way.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a long way to go. There's probably a longer way to go for me than I have come on this journey so far, but it's just appreciating that like progress in between.
Yeah.
So I would say for anyone who is on a personal growth journey or is thinking about getting more into self-improvement, just trying to work on themselves, just give yourself grace and recognize that you are human, but yeah, everything will come as it does, and you are great. You are great as you are. So.
My singing teacher always tells me progress over perfection.
Yeah.
At first, when she would say it, I'm like, no, I need to be better. When I grew more, I realized no, progress over perfection.
Yeah.
I was going to say something because you said a lot of points, and I just wanted to come back. I wanted you to finish. I didn't want to cut you in the middle. I feel like personal growth is very confrontational, like self-confrontational. You start to realize patterns in yourself. Like yesterday, I was reading a book. I'm realizing patterns in myself. I'm like, oops, like I've been doing this stuff. But then at the end of the day, it's also good in a way, because if you don't have the self-awareness, you're not going to be able to change it. So just realizing that you have it, that's also progress in a way.
Yeah.
Appreciating that, and as you said, like the grace, giving yourself grace. Yeah. Do you want to answer? And then I'll say something, but I'll give you the floor first.
What do I have to say?
Or even maybe something that you struggle with in like, personal growth or personal life that maybe you want to share, like if you want to share.
Yeah, I reckon this year is the first year where I've actually like gone down since 2022 when I started. Not gone down like outwardly, but maybe inwardly. It's hard to describe, but it's been kind of weird seeing how I have the same bad habits I had like years ago.
Yeah.
Still with me. I'm like, oh shit, I thought I'd fix it. Let's get back to work. Yeah, as you said, it's bumpy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like something that I struggle with is being, like, I'm very kind and compassionate with people, but not with myself. Like, I love myself, don't get me wrong, I have like huge self-love and self-worth and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm very harsh on myself in the sense that, because like I have I like to self-actualize, and like excellence is something that's part of who I am.
Yeah.
So if I find that I'm not achieving my full potential, I get hard on myself.
Yeah.
But then that hurts me, and it hurts my well-being and my stress levels and all of that. So I'm working on that.
Yeah.
I have my ups, my downs, and I'm working on it. And I also want to say something about, you were saying how you took photos for the gym, showing your before and after. Recently, I've been going through my gallery. I would just go through the months like backwards, and then I realized, oh wow, like I've actually progressed and done stuff. So I think that's like a tip for you guys. If you want to track your progress and really have it there in front of you visually, take photos, videos, even writing like journals. Like I look back at my journal entries also, like, oh geez, I was so anxious back then, now I'm better. It kind of highlights your strengths and your evolution in that light.
Crazy idea. I put 3 years of my journal entries into Cursor. Cursor's a code editor, so I exported my journal entries from my journaling apps, and I put them into like one big folder, put them into Cursor, made it track my progress and like bring up good things and bad things and patterns. And
oh really?
Awesome.
That's sick.
So cool.
It's so good.
Yeah. So this brings us to the end of the pilot episode for our all new UDS Personal Growth Society podcast, Diary of an Executive. It was a joy and pleasure having you on this episode, and a big thank you and heartfelt appreciation to our listeners and our viewers. Keep an eye and ear open for this space because more podcast episodes will be rolling out soon. In the meantime, keep growing and blossoming, and remember that the biggest investment you can make in your life and in the life of your loved ones is an investment in yourself, your growth, and your overall well-being.